A lot of y'all asked me this, and hello, beautiful people. How are you doing? What's good? What's new under the sun? What's popping in the sea? How are y'all doing today? Let me know down below in the comment section. How are you feeling? What's going on in your mind? What's up? What's going on? So today I'm gonna be going over a question that I get all the time. People ask me this so often. Everybody's situation is different, so it's kind of hard to answer. Not only that, it's really a question that I can't answer for you. Only you know. So we're gonna get into it. So the video is not gonna be like, oh yeah, you should definitely go. And for one, I'm not gonna encourage anybody to go. So that's one thing right there. Now being in grad school, one thing I don't do anymore is be like, oh, grad school, you should go. It's not, because it's crazy. It literally, you have to prepare your mind so much to go to grad school. I don't encourage anybody that isn't already thinking about it to go anymore. So what I am gonna do is be going over reasons where it doesn't make sense for you to go, and I'm going to be going over reasons that may make it a little more comfortable for you if you decide to go. So the very first thing is, if you don't have any reason to go, like you're not trying to be a professor, you're not trying to do research, you just going for the name of doctor or the name of MS or the name of MBA, PhD, MD, you know, all those different things. If you're only going for the name, that's not enough. That's not gonna sustain you through those times where you're like, am I going crazy? I don't need this. I can leave right now. And I have my bachelor's, I'm good. I have certifications, I'm good. I can leave. Okay, it's not gonna sustain you. Just going for the name is not gonna sustain you through those times. So if you only wanna go to get the title, it's not enough. Don't do it, it's a bad reason. It also doesn't really make sense to go if you don't have a particular area you want to study. Grad school outside of like professional schools, right? Like if you're going for your MD or for law or for dentistry or some of the professional schools, you don't have to know immediately that your specialization area. Grad school is not like that. You may not know immediately, but you need to find out fast, because all of your classes, all of your research, the things that you're researching, is gonna be on whatever your topic area is. So I knew when I went into grad school that I wanted to do something with marginalized people. I knew I wanted to use machine learning, and I knew that I knew certain things that I weren't going to work on and didn't want to stand on. I don't want my name attached to certain work. I only want to do, the specific things that I want to do. If you don't know that going in, you can find yourself getting caught up in a lot of other people's projects. You'll find yourself taking a whole bunch of classes that don't matter, are irrelevant to helping you get to where you need to be. It may end up taking you longer because you switch your mind a lot. You may have a harder time filling out your thesis if you can't identify an advisor to work with to help you get done, right? It's very important that you are a little grounded in at least the subject area that you want to do. So I didn't know the specific project I was going to be working on, but I knew I knew the area, and I knew what I was focused on. So that part. Kind of going off of that, if you don't have a goal that requires you going to graduate school, it doesn't really make sense. Like if you're just, you want to work in industry as a senior engineer, cool. You don't really need to go to grad school for that. It doesn't make sense to go. to me, right? Now, if you're trying to be a senior researcher, a distinguished researcher, you know, if you're trying to be a professor and get tenure, or you're trying to, you know, do something like that that requires a PhD or a master's, okay, it makes sense, right? But if you don't have anything in mind that's going to kind of get you there, you know, require the master's or the PhD, then, you know, it doesn't really make sense to do it. While goals are great and dandy, if you don't have any money to go, you know, you don't have funding, you're not trying to get funding, you've tried to get funding, but nothing is coming through, I wouldn't go. It doesn't make sense to go because you end up spending so much money that it literally takes you the rest of your life to pay it off, when you could be paying off your bachelor's debt, right? But instead, you have your bachelor's debt and your graduate school debt now. Most grad programs, if you're in STEM, then it's paid for. Now, if you're in professional school, that's different. That's not, I don't know anything about that. I know that they don't get a lot of funding and a lot of scholarships and things like that. If you want to be a nurse, a doctor, a dentist, things like that, that's not what I'm talking about. If you're looking to do your MBA, your Master's of Science, Master's of Public Health, a PhD, you know, things like that, these things, if you don't have funding to do these things, it's kind of like you're gonna spend so much money, you know, $30,000 to $100,000 a year just to do what? If you don't yet have funding, then you might just want to work a little bit harder on getting funding, finding an advisor. I have a video about that. I'm gonna link it in the cards so you can watch it and just see. It's not a requirement for you to go to grad school. I think a lot of people nowadays are like, oh, I'm gonna get another degree, oh, I'm gonna go to grad school because I need it. It's like the new bachelor's. Okay, it's not. Even though, like, you know, a lot of people are underpaid with their graduate degrees, it doesn't mean that you have to go get an upper level degree. If your major in undergrad was something like hospitality or English or psychology, something like that, you probably are gonna have to go to graduate school to be in your field, right? Like, there are other things you can do outside of your field. Just because you have a, you know, a bachelor's in art or, you know, something like that, you don't have to stay in that, or you can do that on the side if you find that you're not getting the job that you want. You don't have to just, but if you want to stay in your field, you are probably going to have to go to graduate school to, you know, to become more of an expert and to get a specialization. Another way that you can go about it is getting certifications. So a lot of IT folks end up getting certifications because, you know, they don't want to go to grad school, or it's cheaper, or their company's paying for them to do the certifications anyway, like the PM or, you know, cloud certifications, AWS, stuff like that. It's not, you know, completely like, oh, if I didn't have a, you know, an engineering or something like that. Like even mathematics, right? Even if you're a math major, if you want to stay in your area of chemistry or physics, yeah, you probably are going to have to go get a graduate level degree because most of the work in there is expertise based. But, you know, if you want to do something else, like you want to code, or, you know, you want to teach at high schools, or, you know, you want to be a business manager, things like that, you don't have to, you know, go to graduate school for that. You can get certifications. Sometimes you don't even need the certifications because they're going to train you on your job for whatever you want to do. So just, you know, look at the kind of jobs that you're trying to get and see, does it make sense? Is it a requirement? When am I going to need it? Does it make sense? If you are in a bad financial position yourself, outside outside of, having graduate school funding, if and you determine what's the bad financial state for you. If you're in a bad financial state and you have financial goals that need to be handled immediately, then it may not be the best time for you to go to graduate school. And you can always delay it. You can always get a job now and they can pay for you to go later, right? But it doesn't make sense if you're in a position where you can't afford food, you can't afford housing, and the funding that they're gonna give you is not gonna support that, and you don't have enough fellowship money, or your school caps the money you can get, and it's not gonna be enough to cover your bills, your medical expenses, and for you to live, then it doesn't make sense for you to go. If you are not mentally prepared to go, it doesn't make sense, right? In grad school, they stretch you and bend you, and they require a lot out of you. And if you are mentally not in a space to take on a lot of bending and stretching and challenge, then it may not be the best time for you to go right now. Instead, you should focus on your mental health. Go seek therapy. Go to your spiritual home and get prayer. Take time out to chillax a minute. Just get your own self together first before trying to, put more on your mental, especially depending on what you're working on, right? Like, personally, I'm working on things dealing with marginalized people, right? So sometimes a lot of the things that we hear in this body of work, they can be triggering phrases, triggering words. So being in a space where it's not, so someone adding that onto already being depressed, already being anxiety driven, adding those things on is not helpful for you. Though a lot of schools have counseling services and they'll help you out and walk through you with stuff, it's still quite a bit. It's a lot. You need to assess that, work with your mental health professionals to see is that something that you can, deal with. Now, some people are like, oh, I don't like school, but I think I need to go to grad school. Okay. No. Grad school is not going to be any fun for you. Like, it's just going to be even more not fun. So if school is like, you just can't deal with it, then it's a no. If you recently gone to a talk or going to a seminar or something like that, or you recently had a conversation with someone and they have motivated you, make a career shift, do something completely different that you don't know much about, I think it could, be reasonable for you to consider a graduate program, because just to get up on the area, right? You don't know a lot about it, so it can be very helpful for you to, get some more information. Now, does that mean you just hop right into a doctoral program? Probably not. Maybe you start in a master's program. If you have very strong passions, you're highly motivated, and you want to do a complete career shift, then it might make sense for you to consider that. Yeah, so that's all I have to share today. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully it was not discouraging. I don't want to discourage anybody from going to grad school, but I also am not in the business of promoting graduate school as a path, as the way to go. If someone makes a decision to go to grad school, I'm definitely willing to assist them with what that looks like and helping them consider all their options. Hopefully these thoughts helped you today. If so, leave me a comment down below. Let me know. I'm going, I'm there, I'm headed out soon. Something like that. Just let me know you're in if you're not in grad school and you're not going, that's okay too. I'll catch y'all in the next one.